Arbor's Talk Station, 1290 WLBY, our nonprofit spotlight coming up at the bottom of this hour. And by the way, if you've got a nonprofit you would like us to consider to put in the spotlight, you can email us, LucyAnnLance@yahoo.com. That's LucyAnnLance @yahoo.com. Would love to consider your nonprofit for that segment. And they work so hard and better our community, and love talking about them. All right, that's in our next half hour. The Lucy Ann Lance Show, along with Dean Erskine, Lance and Erskine Communications, our business, and our show on the air 6 days a week. The Saturday show runs from 9 to noon, our weekday show from 8 to 11 in the morning, and then Sundays it's our Around the Home segment from 11 a.m. to noon, right here on 1290 WLBY. And don't forget there's an app for that. You can go to iHeartRadio.com and download 1290 WLBY. iHeartRadio.com. 1290 WLBY. Just do a search for that. You can download it on Android or iOS. We kick off our 11 o'clock hour each Saturday here on 1290 WLBY with our good friend Damian Farrell, and his section is Damian on Design.
Good morning.
This is my favorite segment every year when you talk about the auto show.
I know, and we get to deal out the Camel Award today. All right, we just, here we sit in our grandeur with all our superb knowledge of car design and design in general, and just deal out this Camel Award and just slay another car for the next year.
Oh, ouch.
But then we also get to give the best of show, in our opinion.
How did it get the name Camel Award again?
Because the camel's the thing that's just the ugliest thing, and it looks like it was designed by a committee. And this car was definitely designed by a committee.
All right. I think
Again.
camels are kind of cute, actually, but we'll see here.
Well, wait until you get up close to them.
Neil Boudette joins us. He's the Detroit bureau chief for the Wall Street Journal. What did you think of the car show this year, Neil?
It was very upbeat, and compared to a few years ago when things were, really quiet and the stands were very plain, and it was just cars parked on carpet. This year was really upbeat, and in terms of the business news, as far as the new cars, there were a lot of important things. The Ford F-150 pickup truck, that's the 2015 model. It's a pickup truck, and the body, the outer body is made of aluminum. That's a huge step for the industry. And we had some other interesting cars. Chrysler has a new mid-size sedan, the 200. That's got some Italian design. And there were a lot of interesting Audis, a Q3 small SUV that looks really nice, and plenty to see at the show.
Yeah, the new small Porsche SUV as well.
The Macan, that's correct.
Yeah, interesting. I saw two different design directions this year. One heading down the elegance of simplicity, less is more, beautiful lines. And along that, the one that really jumped out for me was the Cadillac concept car.
The El Mirage.
El Mirage.
Yes,
just so elegant. Beautiful lines. And then on the other side, this layering, and we talked about this over the last 2 years a little bit. It's as if our machinery that can bend, crimp, twist, shape, bow, has become so sophisticated that now we have to use it in every single piece of the car. So there are some of these cars I see where you start on the front and you look at the front and there's an idea going on, and then you turn the corner and on the front panel there's a different idea, and then about halfway down the car a different idea happens, and so you've got 5 or 6 different ideas. And then, of course, the pity of it all is that you end up doing the same thing on the other side again, right? And so, the big guilty ones this year, I think, are Lexus. Lexus have introduced this grill system, which looks like a cutout in a pumpkin at Halloween, and it's this massive toothed grill that kind of pinches in at the side of the mouth and then widens out either side of that, and it's this kind of cow scrape. And I mean, Audi has a big grill, but they pull it off. There's an aplomb and a chutzpah, if you will, to their design. Lexus just missed it. And they lost it. Lexus lost it.
I know exactly what you mean, and it just baffles me to see how the designers could look at that and say, let's do that.
I know. And so and it's just, again, these sides of these cars that are just bent and folded and rounded and bumped, And then you look at the beauty of that Cadillac, and some of the classics. You know, Bentley has kept true to those beautiful, elegant lines. Lincoln, to some extent, other than the MKT, which continues to look like a trainer hearse in my mind. But I think the new Lincoln sedan, their crossover SUV, right, which shares a platform with the Edge. Is that right?
Correct.
Same body, elegant, simple. But man, there are some pieces of metal that just go, it's just too confusing.
I would agree. Nissan showed a concept for a sports sedan, and there was probably 3 too many creases on the front fender.
Just on the front
and
fender.
If they had just stopped when it started to look good, they would have had it. But they went too far.
Yeah, exactly. They just don't know when to stop. That's exactly what it is. They just trip over themselves until they get to the end of the car. The one that was sort of a relief because it's so small, the Scion, not the Cube, the other tiny little Scion.
The IQ.
Yeah, it's so ugly, but it's the car's so short that they ran out of ideas fast enough. If you know what I mean. After 6 feet, there was nothing left to do.
Is that your Camel Award?
That's not my Camel
Oh,
Award. That's
okay.
not my Camel Award. No, we still got to get there.
Is this the Scion? Is that
That's the one.
Yeah.
That's the one. You know, the way the body was a little shorter than the wheelbase, but then why not just extend the body? Why does the back wheel have to stick out like that? I thought it was just a little strange.
Well, I'm not a big fan of clown cars anyway, so
Clown cars.
that's what I call them.
But some very innovative stuff that, is it the Toyota, the tandem seat that leans
That's correct.
into
Yeah.
the corner? A battery operated, right?
Yeah.
So it's really a motorcycle with 2 wheels in front, but enclosed, an enclosed motorcycle. And as you go into the corner, it leans, and the 2 wheels, they slide up and down the body. So as you go, they go at an angle like this on the front, and you see pictures of people driving this it's a little city car.
So these designs, I mean, how innovative were they then? It sounds like you're not a big fan of what's coming out right now.
Well, I wouldn't say I'm not a big fan. I think there are some nice vehicles that are being launched and are being shown down there. But we're in an evolutionary period. Last year when we talked about Chris Bangle, the BMW designer, and how in 2001, 2002, 2003, he redid the whole BMW line, and they do what they call flame surfacing, where you have lots of creases and curves and concave curves on the surface of the car. And then everybody followed that, and now we kind of have reached the end of the road with that. And I think the designers are sort of trying to find a new direction, and some of them are sort of staying with that, but overdoing it. And we haven't really seen a step forward yet. And maybe that's what's going on in the labs right now.
When Bangle did it, he made it look as if he'd taken the metal of the car and that it was a fabric, and he tightened it up on where you would expect a frame line to be, where you would expect structure to be. But now people are just doing it for the heck of it, is the sense I
think
get.
you're right.
Because Chris actually did a concept car which was literally a fabric-covered car. And so it was this almost wireframe covered by this stretch fabric. And I think that's what he was getting at with his metal, the way he tightened it and pulled it in. And actually the new Stingray does that. I think if you look at the Stingray up on the wall, it does that. It's pulled in between the wheels as if you've kind of sucked in tight to the chassis and to the body.
Well, we're heading into the Winter Olympics, and if you look at some of the athletes like the bobsledders, and they've got these really developed thigh muscles, and they're wearing the skin-tight spandex, that's what it looks like.
Yes.
It looks like there's muscles underneath the sheet metal.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it when done correctly, you get a beautiful car, and when you miss, well then you're way off.
Wait till next year, we're on you.
Neal Boudette, Detroit Bureau Chief with the Wall Street Journal. Damian Farrell, local architect with Damian Farrell Design Group on the Lucy Ann Lance Show, 1290 WLBY. Well, let's get to some of the cars that you have selected here today.
Okay, well, my I'm going to repeat myself for the third year in a row, and my Camel Award goes to the Nissan Juke, Joke, Puke, Leaf.
Again?
It's just, I'm surrounded by photographs here. I'm going to hold one up and try to describe this to you. Well, first of all, I think this is one it's interesting. Nissan are launching a sort of a hot rod line of cars, if you will, that are souped up, and they're calling it their Nismo line of cars. So they have red accents and all this. It's sort of like Finding Nemo, is the way I look
What
at
is
this.
the picture above that? Because it looks like it has a pimple or a
That's
tumor.
my point. On the top of the Leaf Juke Puke is this little pimple, right where the hatchback rises and meets the roof. And it's like, well, why? It's just a little bump. There are two of them. It's like,
Maybe there's someone inside there and they're trying to get
no,
out.
it's just too little. There's one on that side as well. There's the antenna.
You know what
of the
that
car.
looks like? That looks like when my cat crawls under the sheet on the bed.
That's exactly
Looks like.
perfect. But the best part about this is the electric version. What they've done now is they've made the plug for the Puke Leaf Juke right in the nose. So when you put that cord in, the thing looks like it's got its finger up its nose. I mean, really.
I never thought of it that way, but you're right.
But yeah, so as you plug it in there,
What is that design element
Or it
for?
looks like a cow with a ring in its nose.
Yeah.
and a chain on the
so this
operating
little
unit.
this little flap lifts, and that's
Is
when
that
you
to
plug
make
it in.
easier? I mean, I'm not familiar with how when you drive into plug these things in if you're at.
I would think not, because most of them have it down
On
the
the
side,
side.
where you pull a power cord down.
Okay.
So now you've got to make sure that you give yourself enough room. When you pull into like a city
Right.
parking spot or something like that in a garage, and you're wanting to, and that's where the power is, and they're all
Okay.
set up to be brought down the side of the car, and and we're still visiting this multi-layered, multi-grin thing. We've got a lower jaw down here, a grimace across the middle. We've got some eyes there.
This is at the front of the car.
This
now
is
he's
the front of the
talking
car,
about the grill
and,
area.
and then up on the hood we've got these little froggy hippo eyes. And again, I do commend them. I think if you're in a flood, this is the car to have, because these little lights that are up
They'll
on
be
the
shining
hood, they'll
up.
be shining up, and
Yeah.
you'll be able to see it from space.
His Camel Award, Damian Farrell's Camel Award, goes to Nissan, the Leaf Juke. Do you have a Camel Award too?